I have something very special for you. It's very precious. This is the last tomato.
The last tomato.
Traveling off the grid by boat through some of the wildest reaches of the earth means that sometimes luxuries like a perfectly plump tomato are beyond our reach. And here in the Tuamotu Islands of French Polynesia, you can't exactly hop into the car and head to the store to pick up a few snacks. But it's a small price to pay for what we gain in return. Life slows down here, and instead of schedules, traffic, and the hustle and bustle of everyday life, we find ourselves in tune with a different rhythm. The rustling of a palm tree in the breeze, Sierra's laughter as a shark swims by in the shallows, the rise and fall of the sun and stars, filling our days and our stomachs with simple pleasures, and living off the land, sea, and lots of these guys.
Got one! The hard hat method is proven now. We have so much frickin' crab though, it just keeps going. Alright, let's go to the beach, Snags.
We find ourselves in paradise, and I'm gonna go for a little snorkel with the fam.
You have to stay close, yeah, because there's a shark out here, okay?
What a spot, huh? It's amazing. Look at this coconut tree, it's like perfect length. What did you find, Bryce?
Oh, swing.
What?
Goon, yeah. Do you want to go on it? Oh. Put your legs over it. There you go, hold on. Okay, hold on. Are you holding on tight? Don't let go. You ready?
She's not tookie. What are you gonna do? The palm tree is a dog.
This thing is perfect. Whoa! Here, let's try this. Okay. She's on it. She's on it. Ready? Here she goes.
working up an appetite, frolicking around on the island all day, we needed to start thinking about our dinner plans, since our food selection on board was getting pretty bleak. But luckily, our team of buddy boats had some pretty delicious and highly entertaining tricks up our sleeves. All right, Brooke, so what's the plan for tonight?
Crab pasta.
With a white sauce, maybe?
A wine sauce, yeah.
Ooh. So we need about 24 crabs, we said? Most of the wildlife in these atolls are either underwater or up in the sky. But one of the few animals that calls these low-lying sand patches home are these large land crabs called papukatupas by the locals. And they were everywhere. Finding them was the easy part, but catching them proved trickier than expected. And so now, our crab hunting began with some rather unconventional techniques. Got one! Get over. Boom! Got one. The hard hat method is proven now. Oh, there's another one! Let me deposit this one.
Oh, he's squirting at me.
Ooh, they're everywhere.
Let's go.
That's it. Look at that size.
There he goes. If you like put it in your claw, you can just pick it up.
Whoa, Yoda! Yep. Done. Bucket. Done.
Whoa, that's a big one.
Yeah. Oh, get him, Yoda, get him. Ready?
Whoa, look at this cool.
Okay, so we half the crabs, and then you can kind of just break off the back, and you want to get rid of all the guts.
Yeah, and the lungs, huh?
Yeah. Get rid of all that. And then these are the lungs, so we'll pull those off.
Like that.
And then all of that's meat.
Well, how many people do we have?
What do you say there, teacher?
You're doing good, grasshopper.
We get asked all the time about how we deal with living in such close quarters 24/7. Questions like, how do you find your own space, both physically and mentally, when you're living within 53 feet of each other on the same little boat, often for weeks and weeks on end? Well, it's not easy, but it is doable. And for me, mindfulness and meditation have been a huge part of this journey. I started out with this book, which at this point is now very well worn. That was way back in the day, and now I have something that I lean on even more, which is why I'm happy to say that today's video is proudly sponsored by Headspace. Your mind, it needs to be exercised just like your body does. It doesn't matter if I sit up on the bow or back here in our cozy little cabin like I am right now. What does matter is that you take the time and create the space with the right energy. The guided exercises are my favorite part of Headspace. They're quick, easy, and straightforward to use. I can treat myself to guided breathing and wake-up exercises, along with specific meditations throughout the day that can be a few minutes or extend for as long as I like. I can even choose my teacher and voice to suit my mood. So if you're thinking about starting this journey, or you're practiced and looking to expand your skills, I highly recommend Headspace. And right now, for the Delos Tribe, you can get a free 60-day trial. It's pretty easy. Just click the link in the description below, or I think there's even a QR code up on the screen right now. You can snap with your phone. That's about it. You deserve it. Treat yourself. Take the time. It makes a difference. Thanks very much for your support, and back to the show.
What's happening tonight, bro?
So I'm gonna do like a lemon.
Lemon? We have limes.
Well,
It's the same.
It's gonna be lime, garlic, butter, wine, crab,
pasta.
That sounds great. Is that all crab as well? And then we have that whole bucket outside too.
Yeah.
I love how you just bring it by like a trash.
So I think we probably have like 30 altogether.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we should start cooking some crab.
We ended up with a truly obscene amount of crab, and since our induction cooktop couldn't fit really 2 big pots, we had to do multiple rounds of boiling before it was time to begin cracking everything open and pulling out all the meat.
We have so much crab, Ryan.
Oh my god, it's gonna take forever to crack it. This sink is for cooked crab. Whoa.
Nice. Oh, steamy. We have a whole sweatshop of cracked crackers in the kitchen. Everybody's at it.
Even child labor. Look at those muscles go. We have so much freaking crab though. It just keeps going. It does. This is how much we've cracked so far.
And this is how much we
Oh my god. We're gonna be eating dinner at like 11:30.
One eternity later.
Look at all that.
My favorite
crab.
That is so much crab. It calls for like 100 grams of crab and we've got like 2,000 I think.
That just looks so nice and buttery. It's quite a mission. It's like how many hours later?
It's like 10:30. We started 6 hours ago. Oh, the cheese. Even if it's not good, you have to act like it's good. There's supposed to be parsley, but we don't have any.
It's a difficult thing to find at sea. Wow.
Wow.
Wow, fresh crab.
Yeah.
Did you find some shell already?
I got a little crunchy. There's no crunchy.
Enjoy. Bye.
The next morning, we decided to pull the hook and make our way south through the inside of the lagoon towards another anchorage with some pretty incredible history. And while we were sheltered completely from the swell outside the reef, our journey for the day wouldn't be without its own obstacles.
We have about 2.5 hours of dodging what, Sierra?
A bommy is an outcrop of coral reef that sticks up off the bottom of the seafloor, and the lagoon here is absolutely full of them. They're actually pretty cool to see underwater and create little pockets of life in what is otherwise a mostly barren sandy bottom. But when it comes to navigating your boat through these waters, these beautiful microhabitats suddenly become a whole thrashing minefield that you must carefully weave your way through. And luckily, we have a highly trained team aboard Delos to make sure we don't accidentally bump into any of them.
I'm gonna be on the bow and Sierra's gonna help me and Brian is gonna be driving.
That's not any of you.
It is windy today. It's windy. Sierra, do you see the light color in the water over there? That's the bommies we have to look out for. If you see one of those, you tell, "Bommy!" And then we have to make sure that we don't go into those, okay? Good.
Mommy!
Yeah? Okay, we're gonna go below that one.
Big mommy!
Mommy, Daddy, big mommy.
Watch out there! Where is it, Sierra? Where is it? Big mommy!
Sierra is spotting all the bommies.
Yep, this is our next stop. Definitely worth a few hours of bommy dodging to call this spot home. But as truly incredible as the views are, it was something even more unbelievable that drew us here.
A pretty cool story happened here a long time ago. It's a book that I read on the passage here. It's called Kon-Tiki by Tor Heyerdahl. It's an incredible story about Tor and his crazy crew building a balsa wood raft in South America and then spending like 100 days drifting at sea to prove that it could have been possible for these Polynesian islands to be populated from South America, given the prevailing currents and winds and the sail that we just did. And it just so happens that the site where they washed up on the raft is about 1 mile north of us here. So we're gonna go check it out today. Insert narration and images here.
This is Tor Heyerdahl, the man behind the madness of the whole operation. He was an adventurer and outdoors lover his whole life. In 1937, he and his wife wanted to escape Western civilization and return to the basics, surviving only on what nature would provide. They chose Fatu Hiva in the Marquesas Islands as their destination and settled into a tiny village on the eastern side of the island where they built their thatch-covered stilted home. It was here that his theories about where the first inhabitants of French Polynesia came from began to develop. In exchange with an elderly Marquesian man, Heyerdahl asked him where his people came from, to which he replied, "From the east," and nodded toward the direction where the sun rose, the direction in which there was no other landmass except South America. He came to believe that it could have been possible to reach these islands from South America on the types of rafts used at the time, given that the prevailing winds and currents would push from east to west. He fought to convince others of his theory, but when nobody believed him, he decided to try and prove it. He assembled a crew of 5 other men and traveled to Peru, where they constructed the raft out of balsa logs and other native materials in an indigenous style as recorded in illustrations by Spanish conquistadors. After christening her with the milk of a coconut, they hoisted the sails on April 28, 1947, and began their journey of over 4,000 miles across the Pacific Ocean. Under the watchful eye of their 6th crew member and feathery friend Larita, they learned how to steer and control the raft by trial and error, and they survived off the rations of food they brought and the endless supply of fish they caught from the boat.
Lyckan i Havana, hon har inga pengar kvar, sitter i ett fönster, vinkar åt dem.
They faced storms, shark encounters, and countless other challenges, but they managed to keep drifting across the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, and after 93 days they spotted land right here in the Tuamotu Islands. But the raft doesn't steer very well, and mostly just drifts with the wind and current. So despite their best efforts, they drifted right past the first island. 4 days later, it happened again, and then finally, after drifting about a fifth of the way around the world, on their 101st day at sea, they sighted this very atoll that we are now anchored inside of. The wind and current was pushing them closer and closer to the atoll, and they began to see just how expansive the reef was. They realized that they had no chance of making it around to the leeward side of the island, and that they would be forced right through the massive breaking waves and onto the reef. They stashed away what valuables they could inside the bamboo hut and covered in canvas, then removed the dagger boards and did as much as they could to prepare for impact. When they got close enough, the breakers hurled them right on top of the reef, but they kept on getting sucked back out with the undertow. Eventually, the 13th wave pushed them far enough in, and as the tide dropped, the Kontiki was suspended on top of the reef. The raft was almost completely destroyed, but amazingly, underneath the mess of destruction, the 9 balsa logs that had floated them across the Pacific Ocean were still intact. They set up a little camp and their transmitter to send word that they had safely made it. And after weeks of drinking coconuts and enjoying the feeling of land under their feet on this stunning uninhabited island, news had reached Tahiti of their arrival. And they sent a boat to transport the crew and tow Kontiki over to the largest settlement on this atoll, named Roria, where they were greeted with a celebration. The success of the expedition didn't prove 100% that explorers from Peru did in fact reach and inhabit Polynesian islands, but what it did show is that it was completely possible, and that distance wasn't the limiting factor for these ancient voyages, but rather the direction as determined by the prevailing wind and currents. Regardless of what this expedition did or did not prove, it's an unbelievable tale of just how far the human spirit for adventure and exploration can take us. And now, we're ready to do some exploring of our own. As we hopped into the dinghy, we headed towards land on the opposite side of the reef from where Kontiki washed ashore and made a gentle landing into one of the most beautiful and remote islands we had ever set foot on.
This place is pretty wild.
What an island to land on.
I know, right? Imagine spending 100 days at sea, and then this is the place where you end up.
Yeah.
Some little tiny rock in the middle of this atoll.
And they were probably so stoked. They're like, this is paradise. Whoa, there's so many birds here that are nesting. It's amazing. I almost got shat on too. So here, let's keep walking. We don't get pooped on. Have you found the monument?
We found the monument. It says, in memory of the pioneer of the pioneers who dedicated his life to put out the outer limits of human discoveries over the limitless ocean. Cool. We're gonna go to the windward side of the island and see what it's like over there, see what it would be like to imagine crashing your raft into this reef and then having to get through the waves and then to the island. Those waves are huge. Look at our shadow. Hey, can you wave? Not a whole lot here. Not a great place to make landfall.
This seems like a crazy place to make it.
I don't think they have much of a choice, huh? Which way do you want to go? Over there? We're exploring Coconut Island, looking for coconuts. Look at this place, huh? Everywhere's so beautiful.
Oh, they were quite good shots.
Teamwork. If Brian holds your legs, then maybe you can use 2 hands to twist for extra support. Don't worry guys, I'll just keep project managing. Yeah! Brian's like, we got the nut, let's go. We got the nut! Yay! That's a big one.
We might not have floated on a wooden raft for 100 days to get here, but our own voyage around the world is ultimately born from many of the same values that Heyerdahl held so dearly. A desire to explore ways of life outside the small box that society tries its best to package us all neatly inside of. A box that I myself spent many years of my own life wrestling around inside of, wondering what laid on the other side. A passion for exploration, a love of nature and simple living, being unafraid to question the status quo and face the unknown. These are all pieces of our own puzzle that has made our life at sea possible. And as we roam around an uninhabited atoll in some of the most remote and unspoiled islands in the world, it's a very clear reminder that every step of the journey was totally worth it. Up next on Delos, the Tuamotus show us just how good life can be out here, and we continue to fall more and more in love with this little slice of heaven we found.
That was cool.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Okay, I definitely want my pins. Oh my god.
Well, that's a big one.
That's what she said.
Sexy.